Welcome to another week of Final Fantasy XIII. I'm Dice, joined again by...
I'm Azala.
And we finally did some more Seed Stones? We finished off last week with Saz as our main protagonist, killing a Kaiser Behemoth.
Which is really just a behemoth, but different.
Yes, and we will see the differences shortly. Yeah, so I mean we're back at the Artile Step. I'm heading towards the Erba is the goal right now. Let me just say it's not where we're going to end up anytime soon.
I mean, Pulse is big and it's far away.
You don't need to see those dogs.
They kind of just charged you.
Oh, you just killed the Kaiser Behemoth? We can totally take you. We got this.
Yeah.
Our next mark is Hollow Hope. And I cannot find it right now. Okay. It's all the way up there. It's actually close to our objective marker. That's fun. Maybe we'll make progress.
Maybe. You still can't get that treasure, though.
Nope. There must be some way of getting, like, swimming or something later. That has to be it.
Yeah. Swimming, the common form of travel in Final Fantasy games.
So we're switching our party member up here. We're going to go with Hope as our MC this time. And obviously I'm leaving Lightning with the weapon upgrade. She's still the highest. We are going to do some weapon management here shortly too. The original plan was to use Vanille again, get some Saboteur stuff in play. But I found out very soon after attempting a couple of fights with Hope as the party lead that I really needed haste. So we swapped Saz back in as a sub-party member momentarily. And yeah, we're just upgrading Hope's weapon, some strength, magic accessories, including a Blessed Talisman, which we apparently got from a previous end of chapter boss that gives us auto faith, which is convenient when we're trying to stack magic. But yeah, so we have Saz now, momentarily.
Are you gonna fight that?
I don't think so. I'm sure we'll get there eventually. They're big and scary. Luckily, the music in the Argyle Step is nice.
It's nice and relaxing with these dragons. Well, not dragons, but these things flying around everywhere.
Yeah. And it didn't actually want to fight me. I don't know if I should have learned my lesson from that.
Yeah.
I ended up giving Hope a platinum bangle, which without that he would have been dead right there. But basically, I like stacking damage buffs, and Hope is squishy.
You almost need to have a sentinel with him.
Yeah. That's probably why he had such a long time with Snow, right?
Yeah, they were teaching you.
Yeah, barely.
It's still 5 stars.
I had no choice. Either I did it quickly or I died. Yeah, I don't think Hope has low HP, and there isn't really a defense stat.
What do you even do with all that space?
I don't know if maybe there's an aggro focus for being the main party lead that with his HP is just causing issues or what, but it was definitely a stark contrast. And like we had just come off of Saz, who is also a ranged character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if there's a defense stat. I know that some of the accessories give like
There's
physical
percentage
defense
DR,
stuff.
yeah. I think we had like the rune bracelet is 5% to both on Vanille right now, and there's ones that focus on physical and damage respectively. We could obviously enhance those, and I could probably be less of a damage focused build.
Yeah, but you only have so many accessory slots right now, and you need them for
Yeah.
damage items. Do you really want to give up auto faith?
No, never.
Maybe even auto haste if you get it eventually.
We got these guys fighting. So we just killed a Kaiser Behemoth at the end of last episode. Now we're fighting a King Behemoth, which I guess is a slight downgrade from that. But yeah, this fight's a little weird with the fact that it starts. So this indicates that they did not break the combat between enemies. We just been unlucky with the way that they've been set up. But you definitely want to use that to your advantage and get a quick stagger on the Behemoth here.
Even though he healed anyway.
Yeah,
New strategy.
there are tricks to mitigate that, and I had not explored them yet. Suffice it to say, this fight, because of how easy it is and how relatively powerful these enemies are, ends up being a good farming spot, and we do utilize that a little bit coming up shortly. So yeah, without taking any damage from the Behemoth there.
Yeah, unfortunately that thing was pretty distracted the whole time.
Yes.
So you didn't have to worry about, Hope dying.
He's definitely the lesser of the two enemies in this encounter too, so leaving him for the end is fine, and his dagger builds substantially faster than the Behemoth does.
Seeing this.
Strategy.
Yeah, we got a single point in
Be ready for the next
Commando
fight.
for Hope to get ruined. Just so he can go into Commando and you can do a lot more damage during the stagger phases.
This is a really weird enemy.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was our mark target initially, even though they had the star on the map. Ambling Bellows.
I'm not even entirely sure what it's supposed to be. It's like a weird accordion robot.
It hurts.
Maybe this
I don't
will
know
work
if
better.
that helps, but
Let's try something else.
I don't know how Lightning survived there. The previous hit did like 700 something, and
Damage rolls,
it takes a lot of damage from Lightning. The element, not the character.
It also got up to 999% fairly quickly.
Triple Ravager, man, it's great. Superconductors are great for leveling up weapons. They're not. We have access to buying them now, I believe, from the R&D depot.
which we got from the 7th Seed Stone fight. But yeah, so I went ahead and did some farming. I got 120,000 Crystarium from the Behemoth and the Dog, which was enough to finish off one main role for each of the characters that we are utilizing right now. Or thereabout, apparently. Just short on lightning. And we'll switch back over to Vanille. Yeah, Vanille's real close to getting a lot of Elemental Gauze spells, which are quite devastating.
There's a way through here.
Right, very informative cutscene.
He's the main character, right? He's gotta...
You seem to think that he was leading the party right now. Is this a new area?
Can't be. Why would we go through a loading tunnel for a new area?
Right. Convenient how the geology of Pulse is accommodating to the game engine here.
And they're also reusing the Vile Peaks music.
I don't know about this.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that that they reuse it.
It stood out enough for me to identify it immediately, so I wasn't as upset with the fingers discussion that we had last week.
Yeah.
This place is creepy.
Apparently it's creepy in here.
Yeah. But I wonder if the reuse of the music means that this is also the area that the Cocoon Fal'Cie took to repair Cocoon.
Yeah, like one of the places that they stole from, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interestingly, like, we fight similar themed enemies
Oh yeah.
here, though.
100%.
Because of course in like Wild Peaks was where they had like all of the like old pulse machines or like whatever.
Pulse constructs.
Yeah. It was more or less like a scrapyard.
One down.
They definitely utilize that theme, and Vile Peaks is fine. It's just we hadn't gotten as many repeat songs besides our standard battle theme.
Yeah. One day I'll understand her weapon.
There'll be a mini game later when they get to her hometown to like hunt animals or something, right?
Yeah, she can fish with that, right?
Still getting new weapons.
There's a decent number of them for each character.
I think it's 6 baseline.
Yeah. And they each have like 3 levels of upgrades, if I'm
Yeah.
remembering. Though interestingly, like the 3rd level of all of the upgrades is named the same for each character,
Yeah.
even though they are different.
Yeah, it makes it a little confusing to try and bounce between them if you go that deep, but it's also real expensive to get to the final tier.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely some of the, even this tunnel, not just the enemies, but like the structure of kind of this like tunnel here. We saw like artifacts of this broken up a little bit more in the Vile Peaks.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on where
So-
you're
And
Yeah.
I just realized that I managed to actually ignore non-critical path.
What?
I didn't explore that side tunnel. I figured it went back out to Arkyle's Steps for some reason. I'm sure we'll be back through it.
You might have missed like a single treasure container with upgrade parts.
So we're fighting a common enemy version of the Mark that we just fought. It's weak to lightning like the hoplites are, but it also has enhancement abilities. And I think that's the real trick to the enemy. It's one of the buffers, but it also has a lot of HP. So where like the dancing birds that would give them enhancements weren't that bad, they could be focused down. It's rather difficult. It's almost guaranteed to get its buff out right now. And it will also call for reinforcements if you focus the hoplites early.
Again, anytime there's an enemy in an RPG that calls for reinforcements, it's automatically annoying.
Yes. I think you get full experience from them when they summon, at least. Probably up to an extent.
Yeah.
Remember, that was the big trick in Final Fantasy XII, was to set up your gambits in such a way.
And then you just AFK grind.
Yeah.
A Grand Pulse Fal'Cie made this path.
Yep. I bet it's off digging more tunnels right now.
They seem different from all the Fal'Cie we've seen on Cocoon, you know? It's like they just plow through, without caring what happens around them.
That's true. Then again, we were able to build our village on land cleared by Fal'Cie. We lived alongside them, just like you do on Cocoon.
Oh yeah, this is just like Cocoon.
In a world this big, who knows what we'll find.
More tunnels. I'm going to go with more tunnels for now.
So this is the Mahabara Subterra, if we're even pronouncing that correctly.
I'm going to let you lead that one.
Yeah. It's probably at least close, I hope. No pun intended.
It wasn't a dig at me, was it?
No.
And so this is it's basically just an ice bomb. It's an ice elemental bomb. We had some lightning ones in Arc 5, and obviously the OG back in the Vile Peak area. Yeah, we're using fire on bombs.
These are definitely the worst, though. I think, anyway, like, in terms of, oh, they'll just kill you.
So having a Saboteur is great for that. She will cast Fog on them, and using the Belladonna wand, that's what that icon is on them, stops them from being able to cast Self-Destruct.
Oh, nice.
I tried to exploit it more later, but I don't know if it misses or what, but it definitely worked out there for me. And yeah, these are our enhanced constructs.
Yeah, they're Centurions now. I think the original form you fight them, they're Pulsework Knights. So they've been leveling up.
That sounds right. These guys got a little collar on them now.
Yeah.
New strategy!
Don't worry, they still have the design flaw where they expose their weakest point.
Yeah. It's required for whatever job they're designed to do.
Which I assume is just like guard duty. Since they're given names like Knight and Centurion, but who knows?
Stay alert.
Maybe it's to make it easier to repair them. So if they take a lot of damage either through use or combat, they open themselves up so that you can replace parts easier.
I mean, that's at least a better explanation than it just being like a design flaw.
was a chest with upgrade mats. A single one.
In the same tunnel that was placed right next door to the same tunnel.
And there's a couple of fights with these guys. I was not able to get them to merge. So I guess it's not every pudding or slime that utilizes that mechanic, which I'm fine with.
Or there's just not enough of them.
Always seemed to be one. One had to consume another one.
Okay.
But maybe it's just not their priority system, whereas the ones we were fighting earlier, like, immediately went to the merge.
I did it!
Yeah, when we got the Crystarium, at least for Hope, we managed to get an extra ATB node. So we're at 5 ATB gauge nodes for combat.
Which means it takes forever to charge without haste.
Yes. But you still want to try and charge it all because the TP gain is based on doing a full bar.
Do you actually gain more TB the more gauges there are?
I believe so. I think you don't necessarily... Based on the tutorial message that we got at the beginning of the game, you won't gain TP unless you use a full bar.
Okay.
Let me guess. That's a fal'Cie?
Yep. Busy carving out new tunnels.
Making roads where roads ain't meant to go, huh? Yeah, it kind of sounds like us.
Yeah, sure, Snow.
All right, roly-poly. Let's hit your ride on that thing.
Now you're thinking grandpa style.
This seems reasonable.
Yeah, why not? This is basically Hyperloop, but before Elon Musk had the idea.
But I guess the implication is that that thing is constantly making a new tunnels, but they also were able to build structures up and around where it normally carves. So, like, was that actually its purpose, or was it trying to get resources?
Yeah, so I think if you look at the data logs that you get right around now, or maybe a little bit later, that'll actually reveal, first of all, that's the fal'Cie Atamos. And yeah, he's basically carving out tunnels for minerals.
Okay.
So it is like a resource gathering thing. And yeah, and basically all of this structuring stuff that we are going through here, this was basically a mining operation.
Okay.
So it definitely lends credence to mentioning about this possibly being a place that was plundered for materials by Cocoon, and would definitely explain why we see like very similar stuff in the Vile Peaks.
Yeah.
Presumably those minerals were just as valuable to Cocoon.
So I prepped for this fight. I knew that this was going to be a chore with these things getting enhanced, and it still didn't work out for me the first try. Right now I have no shrouds, which is a real drawback when I know that there's a difficult encounter coming up, but there's nothing I can do. I checked the all of the shops that we have access to right now, and I cannot buy them at this point. So we just have to do every fight normally, basically. Even having the TP gain again would be great, so I could at least do some renews or dispels or something.
Yeah. Or Quake, damage.
Yeah. Well, we always end up with a 1. The problem is Dispel and Renew, I think, are both 2. And I also have to regularly use Libra for that. I probably have a Libra scope or something left. We're not really gaining anything more than 1 because of how the TP gain accelerates, or required for more accelerates.
Yeah. It's like staggered a little bit, so getting the 5th PP is harder than the 4th.
This place is gorgeous.
That's a nice ravine.
Is that a lunar
These
tear?
flowers. You remember them, right?
Yeah,
wrong
sure I
game.
do. They grow
Right.
all over Airbar.
We can't be far now.
It'd be a peach
It's
moonflower
my fault
anyways.
Grand Pulse ended up like this, isn't it?
What?
Is that what they're called on
I
balls?
remember everything. I became Ragnarok. I scarred Cocoon. And I left Grand Pulse in this mess. It was me.
What are you talking about?
It all came back to me. Everything that happened with iFocus. All of it.
You're lying.
No, it's the truth. It's all my fault.
Don't say that!
Vanille!
What's she so stressed about? Also, yeah.
I think it's an Eidolon.
A little handsy.
I knew I was right.
Wait, so you were lying?
No more than you were. Admit it. You remember everything.
It wasn't your fault.
Vanille, we should talk about this later.
So this is a relatively difficult fight. They throw us in with just Vanille and Fang, and I had not used 236,000 Crystarium on Fang, so I had to do a retry, and that's where you're seeing this from. We actually got some abilities for Ravager, a single ability for Ravager, just so that we can do this. This also helps, but mostly for the dual Ravager paradigm. Yeah, this thing's real creepy.
Yes. I think it's one of the more weird designs, along with Hope's Alexander.
Oh, yeah?
Bring it on!
If there was like a monk character, I think it would have possibly worked better for them.
Yeah, the closest you get to that is like Snow, but he's not really.
Yeah, and he's very much locked into needing Shiva.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this guy will gain Gestalt Gauge for the standard build stagger bar, but also is built from healing. However, I had actually timed out on this fight twice. Even if I just left Fang in Sentinel and spammed healed her the entire time, did not gain any Gestalt.
No choice, I guess.
And
Not keeping me
it
down.
was required for me to keep the Imperil and D-Shell up to actually gain enough meter to not time out. I don't know if my Doom is counting faster because of PC or something, but it feels that way occasionally. I know we mentioned in the past how the combat times seemed like they were substantially longer. We just assumed they were a guarantee you get a 5-star on all of them, but I'm wondering if there may be some other reason for that.
It is weird that they put that timer on you, and it definitely ticks down, like, faster than you'd expect if it was, like, seconds.
Yeah, making sure that we keep the debuffs on this certainly helps. And what is this?
Do you really want to know the answer to that question?
All right.
I mean, I'm not sure if you have one.
I actually do.
Okay.
It's confirmed somewhere. I don't know if it's in like the Ultimania or some other like piece of media, but canonically, its Gestalt form is called Magitech armor.
Oh.
I knew
Yeah.
something was off. You've been shying away from our focus ever since we woke up on Cocoon. I couldn't figure it out, but then it all made sense after hearing that story from Rains. You already knew. You knew Ragnarok was the name of destruction.
It wasn't fair. You had to do all the horrible stuff. And I didn't have to do anything.
That is no reason to lie to me. You think that's what I want? You of all people!
It's still assault, right?
Yeah.
Poor kid. You've had it rough.
Fang.
Listen, you're not alone anymore.
I'm so sorry.
Keep that up and you'll have me crying soon. We have a new family now. We stick together. You hear me?
Says the one that tried to attack everyone, like, last chapter.
Well, she learned her lesson. That's why she has her Eidolon already.
I see.
Yeah, we have everybody's Eidolon now, too.
Yep. No more Eidolon battles. So, Vanille's Eidolon is called Hecaton Chair. Not sure if I'm saying that correctly. It does not appear in any other mainline Final Fantasy games. I believe it's in like some of the like random mobile like spin-off games, but it's not a recurring one in another main game.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they dubbed it the Magitech armor. I guess I kind of see it now, knowing that that's what they were going
yeah, exactly.
for,
It's
but...
like when you hear it, it's like, okay, I see that's kind of what they were going for, but also like it's kind of a stretch compared to some of the other ones, but
yeah,
it's fine, I guess. It's nice. You know, they do all kinds of like throwbacks to past games in like hidden ways, so I'll accept it. But you notice like all of the hands that it had, and the name actually comes from, I believe, a Greek. It's like a Greek mythology thing.
okay.
And it refers to giants that had, quote, 50 heads and 100 arms. So there you go.
Okay, okay.
They definitely only picked one of those attributes.
Yeah. It would have gone with like a Hydra or something. They went multi-headed.
Yeah.
But the way that it comes up is definitely a little creepy. I guess that's why Vanille was creeped out going into the tunnel, right?
Yeah. She knew it was in there. Also, it's interesting that you mentioned that like the Gestalt gauge is built by healing, because I believe, if I remember correctly, it's the only Eidolon that can't heal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, all of them have Kiraga or similar.
Yeah.
I don't believe Hecaton Chair does.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's not the only one that we had a fight where we could build Gestalt by healing. I think Hopes also allowed us to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as far as like, You probably still get the free heal when you summon them, but they'll usually maintain you during the combats too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that free heal is related to the summoning mechanic and not so much what the Eidolon's doing.
Yeah, this is definitely Vile Peace inspired because our mid boss there was one of these guys. Different version.
Do we get to ride it again?
Spoilers.
Ooh, is there another mini game?
That's just rude. It immediately opens up with a double flamethrower and drops Hope down to less than 400 HP.
Close.
That went well.
Thank you.
It's that bangle, man. I picked the perfect one.
Yeah. It seems a lot more dangerous than the ones in Vile Peaks.
And Barfire and Protect are now huge. I have now learned that from Libraing it. So the thing that put us down to 400 HP put us down to 1300 instead.
Let's try something else.
But yeah, it does the steam clean thing, which is the same as the Dreadnought.
Maybe this will work.
It's actually great because it puts it in an idle state temporarily.
New strategy.
Keep it together.
Yeah, I think we kind of noted this before, but one of the things that they definitely did a good job of with this battle system is making buffs and debuffs really valuable.
100%.
In a lot of other Final Fantasy games, they're there, and they have their uses, but they're pretty critical in this game a lot of the time.
This isn't even like a boss. This is just an enemy. This is an optional enemy encounter.
And the paradigm system, I think, really helps with that as well, because you never feel like you don't feel like you're giving up as much by having a character specialize in buffing or debuffing, because you can just switch them back to do damage or build gauge or whatever you need. So
Yeah. There's still an opportunity cost there, but also the buffs and debuffs are powerful enough to justify them. I think they're like 50%.
yeah,
In a lot of cases.
yeah. I don't know the exact number. I just know that they are really good, and some of the post-game content are absolutely necessary.
But also I can see why, if you weren't really engaging with the combat system and figuring that out, how everything would feel like health sponges and everything like that. And there's a lot of forced party compositions that don't have access to it leading up.
I mean, there's also some that do have access to it, but yeah. I don't have any exact ideas for like what they could do to encourage you to use them more, but maybe they could. It is also nice that I think applying the debuffs has a similar effect to Commando in preventing the gauge from dropping.
Yeah, it definitely does. We utilized that when we had Saz and Vanille the first time with the shelled salamander type enemies.
That was way back near the first time we heard this music.
Yeah. Only been like 20 hours.
Yeah. I like how they say he's constantly digging new tunnels, but we only see him like
Go in a circle.
just go in a circle around tunnels that are already there.
like in a Final Fantasy VII or something, they would have thrown some kind of like boring mini game, like the tubes or something, where you had to like get it into the position you needed it to or something.
Oh, definitely.
It's nice they've kind of started bringing some of that stuff back with like 7 Remake.
Yeah, the stupid like Steam Switch thing when you were in the sewer.
The claws with the shipping containers.
Yeah. Honestly, it's one of the things that probably would have helped break up the gameplay loop a little bit in in this game.
I think you mentioned at the very beginning that they didn't really have a plan for the game until like the first demo came out.
Right. And of course, the first demo was, guess what? A demo of the battle system primarily. So if that's when all of their plans like came together or were finalized or whatever, well, that probably didn't include much or clearly anything in the way of mini games.
There's little seeds of things that they would elaborate on in like 15 and 7 Remake and stuff like that, which I think is interesting. And they expand on it even more in a little bit with 13.2 and Lightning Returns, but those were not baked as long as I think would have potentially helped.
No way through. Man, that foul C must have been slacking.
Wait!
You got your wish.
Oh, look.
Ugh, the vile peaks all over again.
She even says it.
She must have noticed the music.
Yeah.
Hope! Get out of there!
Even this song was the same one as the
Yeah.
Dreadnought scene. Sure?
Is he trying to stop it? You can do it!
They're the Super Sentai Dreadnoughts. Was that their purpose?
Well, that was cool.
Are they the repair crew for the Foul C?
I wonder.
Not
They're
even
just
a
the
mighty
brakes.
Foul C is a match
Yeah.
for the power of teamwork.
Oh, there we go. Power of teamwork.
That's inspiration right there.
Save the sermons, old man. Let's hop on Trailblazer here while we still have the chance.
This is an anime.
Yeah.
It's kind of an anime.
Off we go.
The drivetrain in that thing is interesting.
We're taking the Hyperloop.
I think it's also breathing.
Yeah, I mean, it has to cool off, right? I want to know, in like the inside part where you were transported from, or is it like inside the machine? Are you spinning, or is there like a
Well,
suspended?
there's a lot of sections that weren't actually rotating when
Okay.
but I feel like the inside would have a lot of moving parts, but maybe it's actually a vestige,
Right.
and that's not really the Foul C. The Foul C is the computer inside it or something.
Look, we gotta risk losing our precious crystal tier again.
What you doing?
There's not other water around here that you could potentially confuse it for.
I was talking to Sarah. Just telling her that we're all gonna be okay.
It's so pretty. Sarah, You'd been crying, hadn't you? Back when we first met? This place was beautiful, and my focus was to destroy
It's been a
it.
while since we had one
I
of these.
decided to do
Yeah.
nothing and wait to become a thief. But because I did nothing, others got dragged into this nightmare, and I was the one to blame.
I never noticed her cat earrings before.
How's the scrape? Huh? Fine. Much better, thanks to you. Oh, sure you don't mind. I mean, I'm not keeping you from anything, am I? Not at all. Don't worry. I could sit here for hours.
Maybe even 13 days.
Hey, Sarah. Do you think we'll meet again? We might. Sure. See, the thing is, I was chasing after someone. And there's something I really need to apologize for. But I just can't ever find the words. Gee, that's gotta be tough.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of hard to say sorry. I made you a lassie.
Yeah. I gave you the chance at eternal life as a crystal?
Right?
Well, if it's too much to deal with, face it later.
Well, that's the thing Vanille said.
Sometimes things seem easier when you look at them from a distance, you know? But does that really work? Good question. I'll let you know. Actually, I've been trying to keep something at a distance myself lately. Like what? Don't laugh, okay? It's a dream I had. A bad one. I dreamt I destroyed the world. It was terrifying. I needed some time alone. It had me so scared, I tried to run away. But then, my boyfriend, he came chasing after me. That's when I understood. Running away and leaving behind the people you care about? That isn't love. Though you might just want to keep them safe, shutting them out of your life only hurts them more. The point is, I have people I can count on. I'll make it through. I think you'll be fine. And you will be too. You'll find the words. I'm sure of it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. What else can I say? I'm not the one you should be asking, Vanille. You'll know what to say when you find your friend. You'll see.
She lied. That's what she did.
Yeah.
You mean you met Sarah?
I tried to hide our focus, and she ended up a lassie. I wanted to say I was sorry, but...
Well, when we rescue her, maybe you'll get the chance.
yeah, I hope so.
Come on.
I think Sarah saw the same vision of Ragnarok that we did. Which means Daisley had to be lying when he explained her focus. I think she beat it. She handed Cocoon over to us, and that's what made her turn to Crystal.
Yep. I know.
Then why didn't you say anything earlier?
Also, interesting thing that can be kind of determined, basically, is like when Sarah was made a Fal'Cie and most of the party members, they only got like this vague vision as to like what their focus actually was.
Uh-huh.
Whereas like, you know, the Seath Stones are pretty clear about what their focus was. Like they pretty much knew. And also Sid Reigns also knew exactly what his was. They didn't seem to have much in the way of questioning. And so this isn't like directly addressed anywhere as far as I'm aware in like any of the media. But basically I think it comes down to, well, some of the fal'Cie can talk and others can't.
Ah. But everyone's branded by the same entity from their respective gods, so how does that...
Yeah.
So
it seems to be that, you know, it's the fal'Cie that tasks them with the focus and selects them. So for whatever reason, there's no other like transfer of information there around like actually informing them of what their focus is.
So Anima was just not articulate.
They forgot to give him speakers. So.
What do you suppose that is?
It's just, this is like one of the weird things about the way the story is presented to me, because there's a lot of dialogue after that the party members are turned into l'Cie about like, oh, how we only get like this vague vision. But we do learn and see examples of other people like very clearly being told what
I
their
think
focus was.
Saz implied that Dodge didn't necessarily know what he was doing either, but also he's a kid, so harder to interpret.
Mm-hmm. He was also branded by like a power plant
Yeah.
that I guess also didn't have speakers. I think we know for example that like Sid Reigns was branded by Daisley. It says it in the data log.
Oh, okay.
And obviously he can talk.
Yeah. So you can go back and explain it. Like, here, you got that vision, just ignore it.
Right.
Here's what I actually want you to do.
Right.
And I don't remember this place very much at all. When I got here, I was like, it looked vaguely familiar, but like I didn't remember that cutscene happening here or these enemies necessarily. So I don't know. We'll see how long this section takes, I think.
This area that we're in now, more onto that at least, is called the Solia Springs. Again, not sure about the exact pronunciation of that. It's a relatively small area, but you know, unlike the last one, this actually has unique music. Obviously, right now you hear the battle theme, but as like one of my favorite tracks from the game is here.
Yeah, I think I remembered that there was a water section with like the full gang, but for some reason I thought it was the Sunlit Waterscape. Which that is.
Probably because most of them appear there in trailers.
Yeah. This fight in particular, I had to like jump up on a rock and jump down at the correct time for a preemptive strike to be able to get through this combat. Otherwise, the 5 of these enemies would just focus hope and it was game over. And they are just blowing up all in one hit because preemptive strikes are fun. But this one that's left is a buffing summon type enemy again.
The other things that you already blew up look like the enemies that we fought at the very beginning of the game. Actually, after
Lake
the
Brescia.
Yeah, Lake Brescia. I don't remember what they were called. I know they had like a weird name and they were like walking fish, but the name kind of reflected that. I just don't remember what it was exactly.
Bass, I think.
Yeah, it was Bass something.
got some magic fish here. They do a decent amount of damage also. These couple of encounters seemed rather difficult with a hope lead in particular. But I use it as Spellga at the beginning here. They end up rebuffing before I'm able to get them through.
And yeah, of course, because the buffs are useful for the party members, they're also really useful for the enemies. It goes both ways.
Yeah, so that was day 9. Was day 9 also the day that she admitted to being a lessee to Snow?
It was 9 or 10, I believe.
Well, she mentioned there that Snow would accept her, so... But I thought that he spent the entire day sulking on that pier.
Yeah.
So we're still missing how Sarah met Vanille, I think. So she ran away after kind of being rejected by him, and then met Vanille, and then you see her again, and then that happens, I'm assuming. Timeline with the time skip rewinds are a little hard to piece together, especially when we hadn't seen one in, I don't even know, 10 hours or something.
So actually, it was day 7 that Sarah told Snow.
Okay. Further apart then, I thought.
Actually, it makes sense why she was talking about about running away from Snow wasn't the real answer.
Yeah.
It'll start getting dark soon. Let's set up camp.
That happened in the Vile Peaks also.
Yeah.
This didn't, though.
Well, this is one of the fancy cutscenes. Totally pre-rendered. I guess no, still
Sarah.
not being too careful
Same
with
as we
that.
left her. Feels so far away now. Sarah says she wants to talk.
For some reason, that seems less weird of a
Probably prefer
communication
skip
device than the
lectures.
cell phones they had.
Yeah.
Hey!
Once we're home, what's your plan? You're getting married, right?
What's that?
Sarah wants to know.
You won't make my sister upset, will you?
Don't scare me like that.
You are getting married, aren't you? Don't you let her down, you hear me?
Don't worry. This tear will be her last. I'll make sure of that.
That's all I need to know.
You will see her, right?
Don't go there. No room for doubt.
You're right.
We'll see her again. And soon. You convinced me of that. So stay strong.
Don't worry. We'll finish this and go see her together.
And we'll see who Sarah ends up calling next week, I guess. Thanks for watching.
See ya.